Good morning. Hi, everybody. Sorry. So, first of all, I apologize. Clayton wasn't paying attention and didn't tell me that it was 2 minutes till 10 a.m. on a Tuesday.
For sure.
And honestly, this is more your fault than my fault.
Oh, yeah?
Because, first of all, welcome to the Medicare Cafe. My name's Olivia.
And I'm Clayton.
And the reason why Clayton's at fault here is because today is my Monday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me where I'm wrong. I have a question for you. I'm sorry. I'm bringing a lot of chaotic energy. I'm a little out of breath. It's like
sprint
it's
here.
like what, probably 50 yards between here and my office.
That's
and
fair.
I sprinted it in boots.
That was a lot.
And so I'm a little out of breath. So I'm bringing in chaotic energy.
Yeah.
But today is my Monday, and I have a question for anybody else who is in Missouri who is a deer hunter. How do you do that during AEP? Because that cuts your days like a lot. I was up north. I was deer hunting today. It's my first day back in the office since last Thursday. So I'm a little. Did I say chaotic energy? Because I'm there.
Just a little off. Trying to get back in your rhythm.
Just chaotic.
Yeah.
That's
that's
what I bring
90% of the time.
I bring to the table, which is really scary when you put a rifle in my hand.
Ooh.
So, anyways, no deer were harmed in the making of this chaos this weekend, unfortunately. So
That's a bummer. I don't know anything about hunting. Never been.
You know a couple things about hunting.
You shoot things.
That's something.
You hunt them.
Well, kind of.
I know two things about hunting.
And I would love to hear from other deer hunters out there. And if you're somebody who's like, oh my gosh, meat is murder, like, sorry, skip ahead 2 minutes. And to be fair, like, I'm not a great hunter, so like, you can't be that mad at me. I didn't get anything this weekend. But I think for me, it's like, what I do is I sit in a deer stand that's an insulated deer stand with a propane heater that's hooked up to like a heater that you put like on a gas grill. Like it's hooked up to that. So I'm nice, I'm warm and toasty, and I even bring Pop-Tarts, which is the only time of year I bring Pop-Tarts because they give me a bellyache because there's too much sugar. And I'm now in my early 30s, which means I can't handle that much sugar. And so I put the Pop-Tart on the grill of the... It's grill. It's also hashtag.
I was trying to figure out what this was.
On the grill of my heater so that it toasts my Pop-Tarts. So I'm like, that's my method of hunting. But
This checks out for you.
Hours of not being, Mom! So, like, I love it.
It's like, no, does he go? Does Cade sit in the thing?
No, because he has to wait until he's 6. Before he can actually, like, go hunting with us. Before you can be, like, a... youth hunter.
A youth.
And so and so he keeps telling us, but I'm 6. We're like, you're 3. I'm 6 though. But he goes to deer camp with us and has a really fun time.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't have anything else.
Well,
That's the cafe.
You didn't get a deer, so you don't have anything else.
Brian says Bambi killer. No, but Bambi's grandpa, for sure. For sure, Bambi's grandpa's going down. I'm Cade's lawyer and he is 6. He's not. He's 3. He's half of that.
I don't know.
You should be disbarred.
That will hold up in a court of law.
I honestly, I guess so. So welcome everybody to the Medicare Cafe. Thank you guys. If you are wanting some excellent content that actually has to do anything with Medicare during AEP, you have now come to the right place. So thank you guys for allowing me to kind of spit off about my chaotic energy this morning. But today, we're talking about AEP from the carrier's perspective. We've talked a lot about like how to stay active, how to make sure your funnel stays full and things like that. This AEP's been strange.
Yeah. Strange is the most work-appropriate word I could think of.
Okay. What's it rhyme with if it's not work-appropriate?
Nah.
Buckery. Speaking of deer.
Oh, yes, of course.
Where did the accent come from?
I don't know.
Okay. So what we wanted to talk about today was like, in years past, the AEPs leading up to this year, carriers have been pretty much calm, cool, collected, not a lot of change, pockets of upset, pockets of opportunity, but they've been really stable across the last few years. And we have been having to work with like industry changes. Like last year was a ton of compliance. This year, and like adding technology with Medicare Center and things like that. This year, it's a trifecta of all the chaos. And so one thing that we didn't want to miss out on was talking about exactly what the carriers are saying this AEP. So I broke it down to the carriers that are being the most vocal. This isn't all the carriers, obviously, because we'd be here all day, but these are about 5 carriers that are being incredibly vocal about what their experience is during AEP. And feel free to, again, this is my phone number. Doesn't matter if you are texting me during the live show, if you're texting me during watching the recorded version, that is me. So feel free to text in. I already got a text here. Yeah. This is just a start up first question. How come WellCare Value Script PDP have a $0 premium and a $0 on generics in Florida? Do they pay commissions? Is their formulary small? So, number one, WellCare is playing the long game, in my humble opinion. So it is true. They are $0 in some states, 50 cents in other states, and the formulary actually isn't garbage.
No, it's not horrible.
It's not the best. Yeah. It's far from the best. But it's not like if you're somebody's taking minimal medications and like maybe just some like maintenance stuff, like it's actually not a terrible plan. But I think as an agent, I think WellCare, in my opinion, WellCare has not said this, except for the fact that they're doing it. But I think what is happening is that WellCare is using the PDP to gain a bunch of clients, and then they're going to resell those same clients a Medicare Advantage plan next year. So, like, if you are selling your clients the WellCare plan, just make sure that you really emphasize why you are an agent to work with, why they shouldn't ever go direct to the carrier for questions. They shouldn't go direct to the carrier for anything. WellCare is building their leads resorts right now. Again, we have agents who WellCare is literally saying, hey, here are our PDP clients. Work them, turn them into our MA clients, and there's not like a protection of agent record. There's, it's you're funneling leads to WellCare.
For sure. I think that's a lot of the super low premium PDP world. I feel like that's a lot of the game there.
It is. I mean, it doesn't make sense financially.
Premium plan. They've got to be doing something to try to get those clients themselves as well. But you made a great point. Tell them why they work with you. Remind them to call you, or if they have any questions, that's the person to go to, not the carrier, because situations like that. And want to protect you guys as best as we can.
So, but that's a great question. So we'll actually get into a little bit of the WellCare side, more so WellCare MA, because when you talk to WellCare, they like to pretend that they don't even have a PDP.
I would like to pretend they didn't have a PDP.
I know. They'll come in and be like, well, like that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're talking about the MA plan, the DSNP plan, the Centene plan, the Mutual Omaha plan, but we'll get into them.
For sure.
So let's start off with, again, I don't want to show favoritism. We are an unbiased company, but we got to start with the largest Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement plan out there. It's going to be United Healthcare. I don't think there is any secret. United Healthcare is feeling a little pain that they are not used to.
Yeah, this has definitely got to be an uncomfortable AEP for UHC, at least for now. They've seen so much stability in the last, ever, that this kind of shakeup is, especially even like in our office looking at the people writing different plans now instead of United Healthcare, is just different and odd.
It is.
So being UHC, it has to be a bit uncomfortable to be like, what's happening?
What's interesting, though, is that it's not even like, I can understand, because as we know, United Healthcare, their slogan for years, is not even their slogan anymore, but it's still what I remember them by, is strength, stability, and hassle-free. And they've kept with that.
Yeah.
Their U-Card has been tremendously successful. Clients love them. What's weird, what we didn't expect, okay, I'll start here. I did expect United Healthcare to not have as strong as a year because of that. They are in here for the long haul. They don't want to flash in the pan and then have to leave again. They want that strength, stability, hassle-free. What I didn't expect and what's happening is the movement away from United Healthcare.
Yeah.
That other plans in the areas have like beefed up so much that people are willing to leave United Healthcare, even if it's just for a year, for those beefed up plans. So that came as a bit of a shock to me and honestly to United Healthcare as well.
One thing I'm really interested to watch, though, with this is what happens in OEP. What happens with all that business moving away from United Healthcare? How quickly are those people going to be like, nah?
How many people are going to get their golf clubs? How many people are going to get their dentures and get their stuff and then use the benefit? I mean, like, you'd have to be... I don't think the average customer is going to do that because the average customer doesn't want to, like, it's not worth it to them to go through the hassle
or even know that that's really
plans,
something they can do.
or even know it's something they're allowed to do. You're exactly right. But, like, it is an option where people will go in and we've talked to some of these carriers that are having these huge years, and one of the carriers, I will not say names, but one of the carriers is even like, man, I just don't know what's going to happen January 1 when these people try to use the plan. Like, they're just like, I'm like, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And United Healthcare has not had that problem. So again, like, it makes me, and the United Healthcare feels the pain. It's unexpected that people are moving out of the area. I would say anybody leaving their UHC plan, I think that's an excellent point. Keep an eye on them come October 1. Or excuse me, January 1.
Yeah.
But again, they did say UHC, their D-SNP market is really strong in Louisiana, and they're seeing actual growth in both Georgia and South Carolina. So if you're in those areas, the UHC is still a really great option for you, but don't be surprised whenever your UHC product numbers may be looking a little different elsewhere. The second company is
Holy Aetna.
Aetna. Speaking of UHC losing market share, Aetna woke up this year. Aetna came out and was just like, again, we have it on there. Some markets were up over 900% growth year over year. I know like Missouri, for us, I think Missouri is up over 400%. They just kind of woke up, and I don't know. Well, there are rumors.
Ooh.
I don't know that. Here's the tea. I don't know that Aetna knew how big they were going to be.
I think this is kind of one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, no, we'll be a strong player this year. They were probably talking big game, and they're like, oh.
Well, and that's more like where UHC got hurt, just because UHC did not in some areas even step back in opportunities. Not only did like Aetna kind of caught up last year, but it wasn't worth moving to Aetna last year. This year they said, hold my beer, and then just pedal to the floor. I mean, they went all out. I think the benefit that everybody's talking the most about is going to be their fitness benefit, which is more than just like a Silver Seekers program. They're paying for you to do things like they're paying for your rounds of golf. They're paying for your golf clubs. They're paying for your pickleball equipment. They're paying for your running shoes. They're paying for like everything that you can say, I'm going to use this to be more active. And that's not a benefit that we've seen in the past.
I've seen them advertise a lot, or people talking a lot about like golf and pickleball and things that are like really big and eye-catching.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that senior community are golfers. And then they transition to like, well, hey, it's kind of cold. We could play pickleball. And that's been like a booming sport that they're like, we'll pay for your pickleball stuff.
For the boomers.
It's a good sport.
My mom is an avid pickleball player.
Can we get into pickleball?
Honestly, I'm scared to, because if I do, then I'll have to play against her, and that woman's competitive, and she'll kick my ass. Like, straight up paddle me.
Oh, no.
I meant paddle ball, with the paddle,
Yeah.
Don't be weird.
Okay. This is me being weird.
This is your problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is, I mean, again, it is something that people are paying a lot of attention to. And it was interesting. We were talking to one of our agencies, and their Aetna production, like a lot of your all's, is just skyrocketing. We said, what's the deal? They said, if there's somebody who is not with us, and, and we're trying to get new business as AEP, Aetna, no one had Aetna.
Right.
So if we want new business, Aetna is the perfect way to be Mr. Still Your Client and bring them even. So that's why we're seeing like where UHC was kind of the carrier, like the flagship. A lot of people moving from UHC to Aetna for that exact reason. It's more so agent-driven than it is consumer-driven. So that's something that's really interesting this year. And
a lot of people, especially like that dabble in the MA world, had a UHC contract, didn't do AHIP, just offered MA that way. And now having a carrier that they're like, well, no, I do certifications, I do AHIP, I can offer all of this stuff. And really able to make that switch this year, make it count. The other thing I see with Aetna, though, is I wonder how much this also mattered with like their company shift. I know they kind of moved away from the supplemental world and maybe reinvesting some of that here. So sustainability, maybe?
Well, the problem is when it comes to the MedSup versus Medicare Advantage, the left hand has no idea what the right hand's doing. Like the finances aren't even like shared. You know what I mean? They're completely not related to each other, but it is something to keep in mind. Like not only, Mary mentioned that United Healthcare let go of a ton of of their local support.
Right.
So did Aetna. The supplemental side did, but the MA side may not be too far behind, that these companies are, I would say, trimming the fat, but I mean, like, I think sometimes to their detriment, and which UHC is seeing as well. But the reason why I say I'm not so sure about their sustainability is because if you listen to their calls to their stakeholders, they're not promising. Like, they're very much just like, oh, we've over-delivered hang on tight. It's going to be a rough year next year. So I would love, I've been wrong more times in my life than I can even count, but I would be really interested to see what's going to happen in 2025 because, I mean, like on their earnings call, they were saying like, nah,
Right.
it's going to be a hard one this year.
And you kind of going back to United Healthcare with their shift of stuff, thinking like their plan is to stay, like they wanted to get ahead of all different changes. Yes. They said, let's just make it stable. They changed a bunch of names. Aetna said, no, opposite end of the spectrum. We're going to send it so hard.
Going all out.
And it's the Smart Choice, Smart Fit. What's it called?
There's depends on the area, but they're gold plans. They've gone through different name changes, but that's the one that we're seeing here, Crazy Missouri. I will also say Aetna made huge investments in their DSNP.
Yeah.
That is one where like they are pounding the payment for decent business. So it's kind of like there isn't really an area where they didn't invest.
Yeah, and I know with Aetna's DSNP, they've always kind of been like, at least here in Missouri, looking like a third fiddle to United Healthcare and Anthem. And now it's like, oh no, they're right there with the top anywhere you go. So It's really crazy. I've seen quite a bit of business shift that way that I would have even predicted would go to Anthem.
Yeah, good point.
That Aetna's really just taken over. So.
Yeah. Great point. So that's our synopsis on Aetna. They're very excited. They're excited to see the business. They're not asking the question on sustainability like maybe like United Healthcare is.
Yeah. Excuse you. Place of business.
I'm sorry. Now I have to sneeze. I'm going to do it off camera.
You better.
Oh, no.
Pineapples. Don't do it.
Pineapples?
That's what you say when you don't want to sneeze.
I don't believe that.
It's science.
So, the other carrier, the other one that we have to talk about, is not going to be like the biggest carrier, but it is one that's causing a lot of waves. WellCare and Mutual of Omaha. So keep in mind that WellCare does have like two different products. They have WellCare, which is the Centene product.
Yeah.
Really decent forward. The prescription drug plan's been in the market for a while, growing some market share. Not as fast as they probably would like, but really big in the decent market thanks to that Centene name.
So the Centene side brings a lot of that.
Brings a lot of the decent. The other side is the new product that they launched a month before AEP, and that's going to be the Mutual of Omaha branded WellCare product, which they are, again, I think both sides are a little disappointed in their numbers. Mutual of Omaha especially. This was Mutual of Omaha's opportunity to get into the MA market since Mutual of Omaha only has the PDP product. This was their chance to get into it, and I think they have a long-term play.
Yeah.
They tiptoed this year, and I don't think they expected other carriers, looking at you, Aetna, to come in with such big hammers.
Yeah, I think people missed the Mutual of Omaha MA plan, but at the same time, with them just immediately leaving, that could have left that, like, gross taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
Of like, well, I don't want to have to move all of this again to a carrier that's not even going to be around.
No, great point.
But I think that you're right. They tiptoed in when they expected to at least step into the game again.
Yeah.
And that kind of hurting them so far. But I know that plan dental-wise looks fantastic.
The dental benefits on that plan are outrageous.
That's one of those where another plan I feel like people will move to during AEP and potentially get out after OEP.
Could be.
But I know, like, if people are asking me about what plan has the best dental, I'm like, is Mutual and WellCare in your area? Because it's probably going to be them.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And don't forget that dental is the number one reason, according to Deaf Research, why people are shopping their Medicare Advantage benefits. So
for sure.
They put the money in the right spots. It's just, I think, and also keep in mind, like, they said that they're going to really be flying the Mutual of Omaha flag because it's all WellCare. If you do WellCare certs, it's on WellCare paper, it's WellCare everything. The branding is Mutual of Omaha. However, when you look at an application, it's the word Mutual of Omaha, but the WellCare logo.
Yeah.
So they're still kind of figuring out their branding and figuring out their place, but I do think it's a long-term game. Have it in your back pocket. The dental benefits are great, knowing that next year they're probably going to come out a little bit more aggressive.
For sure. If they can get the other areas outside of dental just up into the competitive areas, because you do give up quite a bit to take on that good dental.
Yeah.
But if they just moved up, like the move, kind of drop that down, a few of the hospital things, I feel like they're right in there at the same level as
the good news is that they're really open to the feedback and really looking for it. So I think it's a long-term play.
For sure.
Mary says, is Mutual of Omaha, now keep in mind, Mary, you're talking about the Mutual of Omaha standalone PDP, not the Mutual of Omaha Medicare Advantage plan, have ratings that are better than 1.5 stars in other ratings. The rating dropped in Illinois to 1.5 for 2024. There are areas, it isn't the highest rated plan.
No.
It is not a highly rated plan. The Mutual of Omaha PDP is not. But I do
Shockingly.
think that they have higher ratings than that in a lot of areas.
I've seen a crazy amount of low or underperforming PDP plans.
Yeah,
the
the
star
Health
ratings just seem
Springs-
to be way down. Yeah,
Health Springs was
one.
another one.
That they're in that area that now people are going to get an SEP out of them if they want to, right?
Correct. Yeah, because they've had a low performing plan for 3 years. This is the third year. So they're in trouble. And I think Mutual of Omaha is going to stay out of that because this is the first year they're there.
Yeah.
But it is something to keep in mind. And Mary, if you're looking for a way to look up providers for all the carriers that we offer, just go to our AEP toolkit. You can actually click on the carrier and look up dental providers, formularies, what's it called? When the pharmacy providers.
said formularies.
I know, but I said pharmacy network.
I don't listen
I'm
to
trying
you.
to. That's honestly good call. Good call.
No, another way.
We're still here. Okay, sorry.
No, I was answering the question
you just
still.
you
I
went,
stopped listening to you, and you got all petty about it now.
Wow, it's kind of my trading.
No, I would say Medicare Center.
Yes, Queen.
You can look at a lot of times they'll have the "Is my dentist there?" I just saw that on a quote this morning, and there's a quick link to go look at the providers there.
Nice. I don't know
That
that I
seems
knew
a
that.
good point.
I wasn't saying it wasn't a good point. I'm just saying you took your time to make it.
I did. I like to do that. Few words to trick.
Finally, we want to talk about Evelyn's, which who knows Evelyn's? Girl, it's Anthem. It's Anthem. Not a whole lot to say. They are being, basically, like, they're just seeing growth. Actually, them and Humana I would put kind of in the same category. Humana isn't seeing as much growth this year. Last year was, like, a huge year for Humana.
Amazing.
This year it's like still like they're a number 2 in a lot of areas. It's usually going like Aetna and then Anthem it's like Aetna's number 1, Humana and UHD are kind of battling out for that number 2 or 3 spot. But Anthem again is just talking about they're doing a good amount, steady growth, and they're liking what they're seeing right now.
I think they just fell into a weird middle ground.
Yeah.
Where they'd been behind UHC for all these years. They did make improvements, and UHC kind of fell back, but then Aetna just was like, hey. So, like, now they're still in that weird second fiddle in a lot of spots where it's like, okay, this is a good plan.
That is your second fiddle reference.
I like fiddles, all right? Leave me alone.
I'm just saying, that is your second fiddle reference.
Okay, I bought a fiddle this weekend.
Did you actually?
No, I did not.
Are you going to make your daughter? You have to start young. Your fingers are too sausagey now. You can't play a fiddle. Did you guys know that? They say you can't if you don't start the fiddle or the violin when you are like a child. Well, it's not your fault. Your parents didn't make you do the violin. If you don't start the violin whenever you're like a child, you won't. It's a not a sport. It's a nerd sport. It's an instrument that like you can't pick up later on.
Nerd sport. So band is nerd sports.
I was in band, so I can say that. Those are my people. Those are my people.
That back for the sausagey fingers joke.
I get that.
Mary, on Medicare Center, finding a dentist, you'll find that when you go look at like the more documents, when you're comparing plan, you'll scroll down a bit where you find like the summary of benefits, stuff like that. If they do have it on there, it'll be there. Otherwise, AEP Toolkit, best friend.
Compare your hand to my hand.
No, okay.
Give me your...
I have small hands.
You have sausage
I have really small
hand.
thumbs. See? Got a small thumb.
I don't know that I agree with that.
It's a small thumb. Put your thumb up to my thumb.
We have the same size thumbs. You have small thumbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, raccoon hand. You get the best trash.
Get the best trash. The last care we want to talk about is because they are seeing a crazy amount of growth as well is Devoted. Keep in mind, Devoted is considered a regional plan, but they expanded a ton this year, and they're going to continue to expand throughout the next several years. We've seen kind of what their growth pattern is, and it's going to be nuts. But keep in mind, guys, Devoted is a valued-based Medicare Advantage plan. They're not going to have the widest networks, but they're the type of plan that tries to waive the what's it called? Prior authorizations that like hospitals love them, providers love them, clients love them. If you're looking at Medicare Advantage plans the same way you traditionally do, which is like looking at the network, looking at, the kind of just the numbers, this one's not going to stick out to you, but they're showing like 97% growth year over year in most markets. And they're also a company that's taking a lot of business, particularly away from United Healthcare, which is what kind of United Healthcare had a target on their back this year. But the growth that they're having is amazing. So if you're in one of those areas, I kind of mentioned it here on this slide. If you're in Florida, Colorado, Texas, or Illinois, and you're not writing it, just know that other people are and are taking business from others. It's a great new client getter. So pay attention to that for sure.
I think something I heard a lot the last year, or have they been in the market 3 years now?
They've been, I know last year I think was their first year.
Okay.
So this might just be their second year.
So last year I heard a lot of, well, I want to see what they do next year. And here they are in year 2 expanding, making their benefits, they're improving them where they are, and still holding on to that kind of small regional values that they have. Really good customer service, everything like that.
Like the regional values, I think that's a great way of saying, like, it's kind of like your shop local, but they're available everywhere, right? Yeah. They do have a different level of customer service compared to calling somewhere where their help center's offshore. They don't know the people. They don't know the agents. I mean, their customer service is pretty hard to beat right now.
For sure. And we have seen, like, they had all these reports of, like, super fast, like, really low hold times. And a few areas that has increased, but it's still increased to a point that's like, still way faster than calling.
Like, you're like talking under a minute.
Yeah. It's like, oh no.
Oh no, I now have to listen to one more song compared to just putting another carrier on hold and just doing your household chores.
Yeah, for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Exactly. Yep. Hours. So guys, that's what we want to talk about today. Was so from what were the carriers saying about this AEP. There's a couple honorable mentions we want to talk about. One of them being Essence. Essence is a regional carrier, another one that had major expansion this year. They are growing crazy. They are doing a ton. They are outpacing what they thought their goals were going to be this AEP for growth as well. So they're another carrier that like we are putting a lot of our resources behind because they are, quite frankly, they're worth it because you're worth it. What's that off of Maybelline? CoverGirl. Because you're worth it. Who's worth it?
I don't know.
Something because you're worth it. Somebody help me.
Is it CoverGirl?
Maybe she's Maybelline. Yeah. I think CoverGirl is. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's Maybelline. That's Maybelline. Because you're worth it. Devoted Essence.
Yep.
How did I not how have I not been discovered yet? You know? I'm just putting it out there. Awesome.
Yep, sure is.
Any other? Sorry, we just kind of lived out one of my dreams for a minute, being a cover girl. I saw this thing, it's like the Neutrogena ads, when like people like they just splash. They're like, who is like just like what was the words? Did you see that?
Yeah, it was just like the chaotic mess that you had to pick up.
Could you imagine
like, just throw
actually
water.
Washing your face and this just like no one's gonna clean this except for me.
I get mad when my daughter just like splashes a little water out of the tub. I can't imagine washing my face and just
the chaotic energy of washing. That's what energy I'm bringing today is Neutrogena ad.
That's like in the shower, sure, go for it.
The water is already coming down on your face. You don't need to cup it. You just look up.
Try it and just tell me that it doesn't feel amazing when you just go, wow. I do it. And I do the Irish Springs commercial thing where, like, you just let the water just hit you in the face.
That's called depression.
Well, I have an appointment about that later. there's like, you just sit there. I had a headache this morning really bad when I woke up. So I just sat there in the shower this morning and just let the water hit me in the face for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it helps with, like, sinus pressure.
Yeah, and depression.
Sometimes, no, you know what? We've gone far enough. So any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, throw them in the questionnaire chat or text us here. I'm yelling. I'm screaming. Chaotic. Or put them in that or text me. We want to make sure we're answering your questions. But, guys, we're like, almost halfway. We are like halfway done through AEP. Got about 4 weeks left. Hanging in there tight. What do you guys want to talk about? What do you want to hear from? Let us know. Either text me or put it in the Medicare Cafe group, Facebook group. Medicare Cafe Facebook group that Ben and Clayton managed together. So we can, talk about what you want to talk about. Because this AEP's been, it's been wild, and I don't know how else to say it. It's been crazy.
If we want to just talk about my mustache, we can do that.
Tell me why you have a mustache.
I have a mustache.
I think it's crazy we haven't addressed that yet. I think I'm just used to the...
It's like, I just accept it. So every year in November, we do Movember in our
Senior
office.
marketing specialist.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of the guys will grow mustaches. We try to raise money for cancer care, organization I've talked a lot about. And this is kind of our first year where before it'd been something goofy that I'd put on with our 12 Months of Giving program. And this year our care initiative is kind of joining in. So I figured I'd at least wear my shirt today, since people on the YouTubes would be like, that's a mustache. Yep.
Honestly, I think like people just have come to appreciate you the way that I have, where it's just like, he's doing a bit. His
My
face,
life is a bit.
His face is now a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've taken out bit real estate on my face.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Catch it next week when it gets all tweedly up. It's going to be glorious.
Are you tweedling it?
Yeah, so last week was handlebars, or last little bit of the month. I've moved it up a little bit, and then next week we're going to...
Do the tweedles?
Yeah.
I'm here for
It'll be
it.
a great
I do
grand
support
finale.
That. We'll get you on. Carrie will be on next week, but we'll get you on so we
I'll
can
just slide in. Hi.
appreciate the tweedle. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next Tuesday. Same time, same place. And again, continue to enjoy your AEP. Carrie's birthday was Sunday.
Carrie's one?
Carrie's birthday was Sunday. Mine's coming up if you want to
Just
get
yours?
me something.
Just yours? Me and
mine.
Olivia have the same birthday.
We do have the same birthday. 1 year apart because Clayton's ancient.
Yep.
All right. Till next time, guys. Have fun.
Make money
and give impeccable service.